I'm Dr. John Gartner.
And I'm Dr. Harry Segal.
And welcome to this preview of Shrinking Trump.
On our show today, we're going to take a look at the way in which Trump's cognitive decline keeps on getting worse. And we're also going to take a look at some clips of Kamala Harris speaking that, for whatever reason, the mainstream press is not covering very well. But most importantly,
we're going to have a special guest on this week. It's George Conway, who's going to be talking about the activities of the Anti-Psychopath PAC and their attempts to psychologically manipulate and provoke Donald Trump with their most recent wave of ads about his sexual predatory behavior towards women who they interviewed for these commercials. And George Conway is very excited to talk about Jack Smith's indictment. Speaking about him falling into traps, we've credited you with being the inventor of the better mousetrap that you have helped create, or a Trump trap, I should say. That this strategy that you came up with has been working. And imitated by Kamala Harris. It's been adopted by Kamala Harris, and we saw it dramatically work in the debate. She kicked him in the crowd size, and he started talking about they're eating the cats and the dogs.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an incredible moment.
Literally, it was like, I mean, somebody's got to use those clips for instructional purposes someday. I think people have been writing theses about the PhD theses about this guy.
Many. Listen, they've
historians, psychologists, you name it. I mean,
if they can write 5,000 dissertations on locus of control, I think they can do dissertations on the near collapse of the United States. Just so people understand, the Anti-Psychopath PAC never sleeps. Your recent campaign has been about confronting him with the women that he has sexually abused. Yes. So I want to show the two ads again. We showed them last week. We're going to show them again. And as I understand it, you did show these in Palm Beach and Bedminster. You did. Right.
We also did it we showed them other places in Pennsylvania. We ran them nationally on. We didn't just. These were audience of one ads. We did the audience of one bit, but this was something we wanted to get to the swing states and get this
right. Good.
Because in the confines of our budget.
Right. No, that's great, because I mean, the female vote is, I think, going to be the margin of victory. I think that's what's going to pull us over the top. So I'm glad that you beamed those commercials about him abusing women into swing states. That's really great. All right. Well, why don't we see one and then talk about it and then see the other?
1979, I had gotten on an airplane. The stewardess said to me, "Would you like to come up to first class?" In the window seat was a gentleman, said that his name was Donald Trump. The airplane took off, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump started groping me. He was trying to kiss me, and I'm trying to push him away. He was basically overpowering me. When he started putting his hand up my skirt, I got out of the seat, grabbed my purse, and went back to my original seat. And I certainly was shook up by the whole thing. 2 years later, at this fundraiser, up comes Trump and his wife. And he looked at me and he said, "I remember you. You're that cunt from the airplane." Donald Trump views women as for his entertainment. He is a serial predator. He has said it at point blank, and he's done it, and he will continue to do it.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah. And she was I my hat's off to her, Jessica, and to Natasha. We'll see Natasha's video next, I guess. For having the courage to go out and relive that, and they suffered a great deal in 2017 when they came out, because a lot attacked them.
I'll bet.
And they took a lot of abuse. And it wasn't like that this time, though. From my sense from talking to Natasha, she said most of the responses were very supportive. And I think
good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's because people kind of get it now. They kind of accept the truth of it, because we've seen so much since then.
Yeah.
And That line, that him calling her a cunt, that was just.
Oh, it's
that detail. Don't you think? Yeah, right. The details.
That detail adds a lot.
That I mean, he did kind of the same thing to Robbie Kaplan, who was E. Jean Carroll's lawyer at one of the depositions that she took of him. What happened was there were two cases where Robbie was representing a plaintiff against him. One was the E. Jean Carroll case, and the other was this Ponzi scheme case where he had this company that ripped off lots of people and through ads on The Apprentice. And the depositions were, one was on 1 week and the other one was the next week. And then the second deposition was going to be on, I think, a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. But at the end of the first day's deposition, he and Alina Habba, when they left the deposition room, said, "See you next Tuesday," which is a euphemism for C-U-N-T. He actually said that as he was departing. This former president of the United States essentially called the opposing lawyer a cunt to her face as he was leaving the deposition room.
You know, remember the quaint old days when you could stop a McCarthy commission by just saying, "Have you no decency, sir?"
Right. No, you can't. And that's how Donald Trump became president of the United States and remained the Republican nominee for president. Is this that people have no shame? People are willing to basically coddle him, even though he is deranged and depraved and, and a criminal. And yet people still glom onto him. It is just beyond me. I mean, where's the shame? He kind of leads you along. It's like what James Comey was never my favorite, but the one thing he really said that was so true about Donald Trump is he eats your soul bit by bit. And he sucks you in, and then if you
like a Death Eater.
Yeah, well, he does. And it's like, and the farther along you get in that process, the harder it is to admit that there's something bad about him, because when you admit that there's something that he did something bad in one instance, then somebody can say, well, that wasn't any worse than the thing he did Tuesday of last week and the week before that and 2 hours before that, and look at everything. And then you have to that if you engage in that line of thinking, right, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, well, who am I? What did I do? So I think a lot of people just shut their minds to it and just say, well, this is all, it's all you three on the screen here are, have Trump derangement syndrome, which isn't in the DSM, but should be. Okay. and I, it is the unwillingness of people to admit that they're wrong. That I think accounts for so much of it, and then there are just other petty resentments. I think and I think this, depending on the petty resentments of in the body politic of other people who they think look down on them, and so Trump triggers them. So Trump triggers those other people. So therefore, we like Trump because he annoys them, even if he destroys the country in the process. There's so many different. I think there's so many different factors in play and different mixes for different people about why they accept Trump. That it's complex.
In the movies, when people sell their soul to the devil, there's always this dramatic moment where they cut the deal. But maybe what you're describing is it's really sort of just bit by bit. There isn't really a moment where you're at the crossroads and you make a deal with the devil. It's more like kind of the degradation of your soul a little bit at a time.
Yeah. And that's, I've never read the literature on malignant normality, but that's how you get there, I suppose, because I don't think it happens all at once. It would be too much of a shock. So but we've reached, we've for many people, we've reached this thing. Even it's amazing. The stuff he gets away with saying day in and day out would just absolutely destroy anybody else.
Well, speaking of getting away with things, let's see your next commercial.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. Kept coming back at me. I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified, and thank goodness the butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, you know we're going to have an affair, don't you? And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter. We cannot elect this man as president.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
That was Natasha Stoynoff, and she has just, I mean, I can't speak enough about her courage. She has been something of an organizer among the victims of the sexual abuse. And
I didn't know that.
She's sort of the glue that holds them together, and she talks to them all. She's been a great help in this process of putting together ads. And you know, she's just been terrific. She went on she went on Erin Burnett's show when the day those ads were released, and she just did a good job.
Great.
And she was concerned about whether there'd be more negative reaction as there was in 2016, but it has come out pretty well. She felt good. She was very well supported, and we have at least one more. We're gonna have at least two more videos. We're gonna have one involving another victim, and again, the story is just parallel stories, and then we're going to do a compilation where we put together sequences of clips where basically they're telling the same story of what happened to them.
So that's the preview of our show. Please watch the whole thing. You can find it by Googling Shrinking Trump. In any browser, you'll catch the audio version, or you can also find us on YouTube. The new episode drops on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Really American Network. We hope to see you there.
See you there.